Hello, and welcome to Taking the Uncertainty Out of Cyber Recovery for Nutanix AHV Environments. Today's webinar is sponsored by Rubrik and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we do have a few housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of this session. First off, let's talk questions. We want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. So we won't be able to do a dedicated Q&A session at the end of this one, but we do have a full complement of Rubrik and Nutanix folks standing by to type in answers to your questions in chat, so ask away. A Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. Browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know there in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Okay, next, handouts. So in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources today. I'd especially like to call your attention to a bunch of resources in there from both Rubrik and Nutanix. There's a PDF on Rubrik Security Cloud for Nutanix. And then there are 5 more resource links in there, one on Rubrik Cyber Recovery for Nutanix AHV, one on Rubrik Protection for Nutanix, one about NC2 on Azure. One is a Nutanix test drive, and then there's one with details about Rubrik and Nutanix extending their partnership. So a lot of great stuff in there. Encourage you to access those resources now, and feel free to share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, I'm sure you noticed the prize icon there. At the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. The official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the prize terms and conditions link there. Okay, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's fantastic session. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. We have Shane Allen, who's Senior Platform Solutions Architect at Rubrik, and Dwayne Lesner, who's Principal Technical Marketing Engineer from Nutanix. So, gentlemen, it's great to have you here. I'm going to turn things over to Shane to take it away.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Taking the Uncertainty Out of Cyber Recovery, hosted by Rubrik and Nutanix. I'm Shane Allen, Senior Platform Solutions Architect at Rubrik, and we're excited to have you here. Today, we'll be covering strategies to strengthen your cyber recovery while ensuring your virtual environments are secure and resilient. In this joint webinar, led by Rubrik and Nutanix, you'll learn how to plan, test, and validate your cyber recovery plans using clean room environments, automate and streamline cyber recovery processes for Nutanix AHV environments, and enhance security for your Nutanix cloud clusters, NC2, on AWS and Azure. I'm joined today by Dwayne Lesner, Principal Technical Marketing Engineer at Nutanix. Dwayne will be walking you through a detailed presentation on Nutanix cloud clusters and security overview, where he'll cover Nutanix's approach to securing hybrid and multi-cloud environments. We appreciate you being here today, and by the end of this session, we're confident you'll have actionable strategies to plan, test, and validate your cyber recovery plans, streamline recovery for Nutanix AHV, and enhance security for NC2 environments on AWS and Azure. Let's get started. Virtual environments continue to be targeted. Why? In a recent survey conducted by Rubrik Zero Labs, we found that 83% of encryption events observed in 2023 targeted virtualization infrastructure. The reason for this is that virtualized architectures often have less security coverage compared to traditional endpoints. Unlike endpoints, virtual environments typically lack endpoint detection and response and antivirus software specifically designed for hypervisors. This, combined with the complexity of implementing security measures in these environments, makes it easier for threat actors to deploy malware on hypervisors. The result is security dead spots, providing attackers with unfettered access to critical systems. Attacks on virtualized systems can have potentially severe consequences. VM-level encryption attacks are particularly dangerous, as they exploit host VMs and target the underlying virtual machine and virtual disk files. This can significantly impair your entire virtualized infrastructure, monitoring and alerting systems, BCDR solutions, and other critical applications. Without the ability to quickly detect and recover from these types of attacks, IT teams may find themselves flying blind. And it gets worse. 76% of these attacks occur after hours or during weekends. In many cases, identifying the blast radius is a manual process. If your hypervisor administration console is down or compromised, you'd need to manually inspect individual hosts, if you can even log in, to start formulating a recovery plan. Even then, compromised hosts would need to be rebuilt from scratch, which further delays recovery and increases downtime. While the Nutanix platform is inherently secure, with native features like automated threat and anomaly detection, role-based access control, lifecycle management, and microsegmentation, a true defense in depth strategy requires multiple layers of security for holistic protection. This is where Rubrik Cyber Recovery comes into play, allowing administrators to plan, test, and validate cyber recovery plans regularly and recover quickly in the event of a cyber attack. As a distributed system built for the hybrid cloud, Nutanix AHV is engineered for unrivaled ease of use with fully integrated security. Rubrik Cyber Recovery adds that extra layer of cyber preparedness, and together, Rubrik and Nutanix enable organizations to tackle their most complex enterprise IT challenges with confidence. That's it for this section. I'll be back in a bit to cover Rubrik for Nutanix environments, followed by Rubrik Cyber Recovery for Nutanix AHV, and a quick demo. But first, I'm going to pass it over to Dwayne Lessner, who will take us through Nutanix cloud clusters and their security approach. Dwayne, it's all yours.
Thanks, Shane. Nutanix cloud clusters and a little smattering of security on deck. So NC2 is Nutanix's version of deploying AOS into the public cloud. NC2 is just an extension of what we're doing on-prem. So whatever you're doing with Nutanix in your on-prem environment, you can now do in the public cloud. This gives customers the ability to have a single unified management regardless of where they're deploying their applications. Nutanix Cloud Clusters, NC2, is also a great way to quickly get your workloads into the public cloud. We have native networking with AWS, Flow Virtual Networking providing the same networking constructs as on-prem into the public cloud. You even get to use your same backup tools that you're using on-prem in the public cloud, which in time of need, you're able to quickly restore your applications into your environments that you need, which is a huge benefit because it's the same administrators. There's not having any retooling or relearning as you go across your different infrastructure. And with today's uncertainty in the IT landscape, decisions that you make today are probably not going to be the same decisions that you make in 3 years. So it's extremely flexible for customers to move their applications when they need to at the right time. So with our platform, Prism Central is managing multiple clusters. They can be both on-prem and in the public cloud. And so you'll have a lot of insight into your environments that will directly help you with your security posture. One way to move quickly into the public cloud is with our DR functionality. We have Nutanix DR built in to the platform. We also have other tooling like Nutanix Move that can move non-Nutanix environments into the public cloud. When you pick your favorite hyperscaler of choice, whether AWS or Azure, you can start with a very small cluster and replicate your data, just ensuring that you have enough data on the cluster itself, with additional features like the ability to add elastic block or snapshots directly to S3. You can have a real cost-effective environment. When you need to fail over, you can always add additional nodes manually through our NC2 portal, or you can use playbooks that are built into Prism Central to automatically scale your environments at the time of failover. Now we're talking about AWS and Azure, but there are plenty of service providers that are also running AOS that can be destinations or source environments for your Nutanix environment. And of course, with Rubrik in the picture, you can have a backup from on-prem going directly into your favorite hyperscaler, and then quickly deploy an NC2 cluster and use that backup to get your environment back up and running. We do have object support as well on-prem and in the public cloud. We mentioned S3, but a lot of the Nutanix functionality and security features we have with Data Lens will also work across these environments. Now, we're here talking about security. Security cannot be an afterthought in your environment. It can't be a bolt-on after the fact. Things will get missed. So within our own engineering programs, we have our own security life cycle. Part of that integration is STIG, Security Technical Implementation Guidelines, that we built into the product. This means that even highly regulated environments like a DoD environment, we have over 800 checks that we do that can take a process that sometimes can take a year and bring that down into hours by the automation that we provide. And of course, you're only as secure as the last time that you had your environment checked. So it needs to be automated and ran all the time. So this is something that you're going to get with Nutanix, whether it's on-prem or in the public cloud. And now, other features that we have that can help in your environment, data at rest encryption. There's a wide variety of choices that you can pick. Now, self-encrypting drives are supported on-prem. Now, those are highly strict environments. There's like a tab on the drive to make sure that it's not tampered with, and also the performance benefits. But public cloud, you're not going to get that same functionality. So Nutanix provides its own software encryption where you can use an enterprise key manager, third party, or Prism Central, which is used to manage multiple Nutanix clusters, can also provide or be the KMS. So regardless of where your data is sitting, you can be assured that when a drive goes missing for whatever reason, that you're not having to worry about any of the data that's sitting on it. It will be encrypted and safe, ready for you. Now, one of the other benefits built into Prism Central, we do have a security dashboard. You can see in the picture on the left-hand side, it says STIG issues. So while you deploy the platform, it's out of the box. You can run these STIGs automatically to bring your environment into a good known state. One of the biggest things that I would say that battles, the security and continual updates. So we have this framework within Nutanix. We have a security team that is helping to address or bring up CVEs in your environment. Those will appear here. And then we have lifecycle management, which is an automated way to patch your environment that not only does the patching, but it's also making sure that you don't shoot your foot, so to speak, by patching the wrong thing. So it's going to do all these checks for you and keep your environment in a safe manner for you. Now, when it comes to data, if you don't know who's accessing your data, it's really hard to ensure the security of it. So Data Lens that we have for Nutanix files, which is a great way to deploy and manage data on-prem at the edge and can also be deployed on NC2. We have the ability to do anomaly detection. So we can all, pretty get close to preventing zero-day attacks by analyzing patterns on file usage. We can see who's accessing the data. You can trend your data patterns. And so this is something for files and also object storage as well. So you can keep secure and make sure that your auditors have all of the insight they need to make their decisions. When it comes to moving data, now, as I'm sure Rubrik will mention, snapshots are not backups, but it is one way to get quick recovery time objectives in your environment where you have very important critical workloads that you want to restore quickly. You can send those snapshots off to another Nutanix device, which could be that running NC2 cluster, or it could be S3 storage. Nutanix is redirect on write for the snapshots. And so, but one thing that rogue actors have figured out, well, they have these snapshots. So what happens if I just go off and delete all of them? Well, now we have a way of making it so you have to have at least two people before any deletion of snapshots occur. So it's a way to prevent ransomware from coming into your environment and deleting your snapshots. So this is all built into the Nutanix platform. There's no additional components or licensing needed to run this. So you can be protected in a variety of use cases. Now, there's storage mobility, but there's also the networking side. I mentioned that with 6.8, we have virtual flow networking for AWS. It was always a part of Azure from the initial deployment, and you also have it on-prem. So now you have this consistent way of making virtual networks in your environment. It allows you to have stretch layer 2, also known as subnet extension within your environment. So you can move your applications into the right environment without having to change their IP addresses, or if you have older applications that are maybe tied to MAC addresses, you have an easy way of doing this. With this, there's a network ACLs that can help protect your environment. There's policy-based routing. Depending on where you're putting firewalls in your environment, we can ensure that that traffic is being inspected regardless of where it's going. And in terms of AWS, we also work with AWS security groups. So both the Nutanix administrator and your cloud administrator both have friendly constructs to work within their environment. But it doesn't end there. On top of the virtual flow networking, which is providing an overlay, we also have micro-segmentation, which is built into Prism Central. And one of the strengths of this, the inspecting of network traffic, is that any customer can start out with a policy for their applications in just view mode. So you can actually see all of the traffic that's going into your environment, and more importantly, east-west. Now, most traffic, and around the number that I've seen, is 75% of traffic is east-west within an environment. So now within your VPC or just normal networking where Nutanix is part of the picture, you'll have a view into all of your traffic. And once you have that view, you can start locking it down with policy versus trying to do everything at the firewall layer. So with Nutanix, you have a great storage mobility and network mobility story with security built into the product. And at this time, I'd like to hand it back over to Shane. Thank you.
Thanks, Dwayne, for that great overview of Nutanix cloud clusters and the security approach. Now let's shift gears and dive into Rubrik for Nutanix environments. In this section, I'll walk you through how Rubrik integrates with Nutanix to provide comprehensive data protection and cyber recovery solutions. I'll cover the key features and capabilities, and after that, I'll give you a quick demo to show it all in action. So, let's get started with Rubrik for Nutanix environments. How it works: Rubrik Security Cloud is a software as a service, SaaS platform, designed to keep your data secure and ensure fast recovery, no matter where that data resides, whether it's across the enterprise, in the cloud, or within SaaS applications. Rubrik Security Cloud helps you stay resilient against cyber attacks and operational failures. It enables you to protect your data, monitor data risk, and recover data and applications so you can keep your business running smoothly. Rubrik provides comprehensive data protection and security solutions covering virtual machines, unstructured data, and physical machines with air-gapped, immutable, and access-controlled backups. It is simple to add Nutanix Prism Central, Prism Element Cluster, or Nutanix Cloud Cluster to Rubrik Security Cloud. Rubrik Security Cloud leverages Declarative Service Level Agreement SLA policies, these are the backup policies, to automatically protect Nutanix AHV virtual machines to meet business objectives. SLAs can be assigned to Nutanix AHV virtual machines that require protection. You can assign SLAs to individual VMs, the entire Prism element cluster, or categories when using Prism Central. SLAs will be inherited based on category assignment or from a parent hierarchical construct, such as cluster assignment, providing you full protection of your Nutanix environment for both on-premises and public cloud Nutanix environments. At Rubrik, we provide complete data security for Nutanix AHV, NC2, Nutanix files, and objects with a few key components. First, we ensure zero trust data protection by securing VMs with global SLA policies, built-in MFA, encryption, and a logical air gap to prevent unauthorized access. We also offer threat analytics and posture management, continuously monitoring for ransomware and identifying impacted VMs and sensitive data. When it comes to flexible and rapid recovery, our solutions ensure business continuity with flexible recovery options. Recently, we announced a powerful new feature. Nutanix AHV users can now confidently test and validate recovery plans in clean rooms to expedite forensic investigations and strengthen cyber resilience after an attack. What this means for you is that now you can test your cyber recovery readiness, orchestrate rapid recovery back to production, and expedite forensic investigations much more easily. Next, we'll dive into Rubrik Cyber Recovery for Nutanix AHV and see how this all fits together. As the attack surface continues to expand and cyber criminals become more advanced, organizations are struggling to stay prepared for ransomware and other cyber incidents. According to the Rubrik Zero Labs State of Data Security Report, a staggering 92% of IT and security leaders are worried they wouldn't be able to maintain business continuity after a cyber attack. And it's not just IT. About a third of boards have little confidence in their organization's ability to recover critical data and business applications. This has led executives and boards to start asking their IT and security teams some tough questions. How can we regularly test and validate our recovery plans in preparation for an attack? How fast can we restore business operations after an incident? How quickly can we perform cyber investigations if we need to? And the problem is, many organizations don't have solid answers to these questions until a breach happens. When it comes to cyber recovery, there are some significant challenges that organizations face. First, there's often a lack of functionality to perform repeatable testing and validation of recovery plans. Without this capability, it's hard to ensure you're prepared for when a real attack happens. Another issue is that many teams still rely on manual methods to identify clean recovery points after a cyber attack. This slows down the recovery process and can delay getting the business back online. Finally, there's often a lack of visibility into suspicious activity, making it difficult to choose the right recovery point for forensic investigations. Without clear insights into what happened, teams struggle to find the most secure and reliable point to restore from. To tackle the challenges we just discussed, Rubrik Cyber Recovery provides a powerful solution. This new feature enables easy recovery testing and validation in isolated environments, helping organizations significantly improve their cyber readiness and incident response. With Rubrik Cyber Recovery, IT and security teams can test whether your recovery playbook works. You'll be able to validate the entire recovery sequence, from timing to potential failure points, ensuring everything runs as expected. Clone snapshots into isolated environments quickly. This makes it easier to conduct faster cyber readiness assessments and prepares you for potential incidents. Perform forensics investigations on infected snapshots, all while continuing to restore business operations so your team can investigate without delaying recovery. Now let's dive into each of these areas in more detail. Let's talk about clean room recovery and how it works with Rubrik. One of the biggest challenges for organizations is the lack of a simple way to test and validate their cyber recovery plans regularly. Typically, identifying the right recovery point is a manual and often cumbersome process, relying on guesswork and excessive testing of multiple snapshots. This results in many organizations rarely testing their cyber recovery plans, which puts their overall resilience at risk. With Rubrik, we solve that problem through isolated recovery. Our platform uses intelligent data threat analytics to help you quickly identify the best restore points for recovery. Once identified, you can rapidly instantiate data in a clean room environment by live mounting the selected snapshots. There are several key benefits to this approach. You can perform regular testing of your recovery plans to ensure they work as expected. It also expedites forensic investigations, allowing you to identify and analyze infected snapshots without affecting production. Plus, you can even simulate attack scenarios to assess your readiness for a real-world cyber event. In this secure, out-of-band, isolated environment, you can confidently test, validate, and prove your cyber recovery readiness, whether it's for auditors, insurance companies, or just to ensure you're ready for the next cyber incident. And if you need to conduct a forensic investigation, Rubrik makes it easy to identify the right restore point and perform the analysis in the clean room without disrupting business operations. Today, we're seeing that many organizations are still in reactive mode when it comes to cyber attacks. This makes it challenging for IT teams to create, test, and validate predefined cyber recovery plans. And without regular testing, organizations often face longer downtime due to poorly tested or non-existent recovery plans. Rubrik Cyber Recovery changes that by helping organizations meet their recovery times. With Rubrik, you can easily create, test, and validate your cyber recovery plans, including everything from the sequence to timing and even identifying potential failure points. With Rubrik Security Cloud, you can launch end-to-end cyber recovery workflows, monitor your recovery progress, and track performance metrics in real time. Plus, you can download detailed reports on demand, which helps prove that regular testing is happening and that your cyber recovery capabilities are up to speed. When a cyber attack happens, many organizations end up conducting their forensic investigations directly in their production environments. The problem with this is it often extends downtime and delays recovery. As a result, businesses are forced to choose between recovering quickly or ensuring that their environment is free of malware or other indicators of compromise. Rubrik Cyber Recovery solves this problem by allowing you to conduct out-of-band investigations in isolated recovery environments, all while continuing to work on restoring business operations. With Rubrik, you can easily identify the last known good snapshot to recover from, ensuring that you're restoring from a clean point. Instead of relying on manual recovery processes, Rubrik enables you to replace them with automated workflows. Using our live mount technology, you can quickly clone backup data into isolated recovery environments. From there, you can easily conduct forensic investigations without any risk of further disrupting your production systems, making sure no malware or IOCs remain undetected. Today, many organizations still rely on manual, complex processes to build sandboxes for cyber readiness testing, or worse, they perform these tests directly in their production environments. This often leads to increased downtime and leaves vulnerabilities insufficiently tested. With Rubrik Cyber Recovery, you can get visibility into suspicious activity using Rubrik's data threat analytics. This drastically reduces the time it takes to identify the right recovery point for forensic investigations, so you're not wasting time sifting through data. Once identified, Rubrik allows you to rapidly instantiate data in clean rooms by live mounting selected snapshots, all in an isolated, out-of-band environment. This means your security teams can easily conduct cyber readiness tests or more intrusive exercises like penetration tests or vulnerability remediation without impacting your production systems. You can even clone known bad snapshots, which have been flagged and quarantined by Rubrik Anomaly Detection and Threat Containment for deeper testing and assessments. When it comes to recovering from a ransomware attack, it's important to understand the right tool for the job. Depending on the scenario, Rubrik offers several recovery types to help you get back online quickly and efficiently. With file-level recovery, you can perform a surgical recovery of just the encrypted data, restoring only the affected files without the need for a full system recovery. For larger recovery needs, Live Mount allows you to stand up a point-in-time copy of a virtual machine directly from Rubrik storage. This is a great option when you need a system up and running fast. Once it's ready, you can easily migrate it to production storage. If you're ready to bring data back to production immediately, you can use export to copy a point-in-time snapshot back into your environment before starting up the machine. And if you need to do this at scale, mass recovery enables you to recover hundreds of VMs or tens of thousands of files to a clean state, all within minutes, ensuring you meet recovery objectives and minimize downtime. With Rubrik Security Cloud, managing Nutanix clusters, whether they're on-premises or in the cloud with Nutanix cloud clusters running on AWS or Azure, is seamless. The process for adding and recovering these clusters is the same, allowing you to handle data protection and recovery consistently, regardless of the location. Rubrik offers full feature parity on NC2, which means you'll get the same level of security features, like anomaly detection, threat hunting and monitoring, and sensitive data discovery, as you would for your on-premises Nutanix clusters. This unified approach ensures that your entire Nutanix environment, whether on-prem or in the cloud, remains fully protected, easily monitored, and can be recovered quickly when needed. Now that we've gone through the key features, let's take a look at Rubrik Cyber Recovery for Nutanix AHV in action with a quick demo. I'll show you how easy it is to create a Nutanix Cyber Recovery plan, execute it, and monitor the progress step by step. You'll also see how Rubrik automatically documents the results, giving you a clear view of your recovery efforts. And once the recovery is complete, I'll walk through how to clean up the plan when it's no longer needed. This will give you a first-hand look at how Rubrik simplifies cyber recovery for Nutanix AHV environments. Let's jump into the demo. In Rubrik Security Cloud, we're orchestrating a recovery. Here, we have a listing of all the Nutanix AHV virtual machines that are protected by Rubrik Security Cloud. To start a Nutanix AHV cyber recovery plan, it's quite simple. First, select the virtual machines you want to include in the plan. Then, click Start a Cyber Recovery. This brings up the Cyber Recovery wizard. Click Start. Next, choose Live Mount and click Next. Here, we'll select the snapshots, backups we want to use for the cyber recovery. By default, we select the non-quarantined and non-anomalous snapshots. For forensic purposes, you can also select the anomalous or quarantined snapshots. Once you've made your selections, click Next. In this step, we can adjust the priority groups or the boot order of the virtual machines. In this case, we've changed the boot order for a few of them. Click Next. Now, we select the clean room environment for the recovery. This could be another on-premise Nutanix cluster, or it could be Nutanix cloud clusters running in Azure or AWS. Select the target compute resource. Click Next. Instead of filling out the individual networks for each virtual machine, you can either do that manually or use the fast fill option. This allows you to apply the isolated network for the clean room environment to all or just specific virtual machines. As an additional layer of isolation, you can choose to recover with the network disconnected and only connect it once the cyber recovery has been completed. Click Next. At this point, you can save the cyber recovery plan as a Nutanix AHV recovery plan, which can be reused for future recoveries. Click Confirm. Here, we can monitor the recovery of the cyber recovery plan. By expanding the details, we can see the various steps being taken, like preparing for recovery, setting up resources, pinning the snapshots to lock the data, and more. Once the recovery is complete, you can download a report from the top right corner. This will generate a PDF for each recovery plan that's been executed. It provides a recovery overview, the recovery time, and details of any errors that occurred. This is useful for auditors, management, or insurance companies who may ask whether you've tested your recovery plans. You'll be able to show them a list of successful recoveries and the overall recovery time for each recovery. To clean up a recovery plan, just click Cleanup. This will remove the resources and live mounts of the virtual machines. The process happens quickly, and once the recovery cleanup is done, everything returns to its normal state before the cyber recovery. This completes the demonstration of cyber recovery plans for Nutanix AHV virtual machines, allowing you to quickly recover AHV VMs on on-premises Nutanix clusters or Nutanix cloud clusters hosted in Azure or AWS. Thank you. Before we wrap up, here are a couple of valuable resources to help you explore Nutanix and Rubrik further. Step 1. Take a test drive of Nutanix by visiting https://nutanix.com/one-platform. There are plenty of options, including demos that focus on security and BCDR capabilities, so you can get hands-on with the platform. Step 2. Check out our interactive demo for Rubrik on Nutanix AHV at https://www.rubrik.com/lp/demo/rubrik-for-Nutanix-AHV. This will walk you through how Rubrik integrates with Nutanix AHV to streamline data protection and cyber recovery. And with that, a special thank you to Dwayne Lessner from Nutanix for joining us today and sharing their insights. Thanks, Dwayne, for your time and presentation during this webinar. Finally, thank all of you for joining us today. We appreciate your time, and we hope you found this session helpful. Thanks again, and have a great day.
All right. Well, thanks Shane and Dwayne for putting together a really informative presentation there with a great demo there. We really appreciate your time today. And a quick reminder to everybody, this is your last chance to grab those handouts before we close the event in just a moment. So before we wrap up, we have one more piece of business. It's the Amazon gift card prize drawing. And the winner of the $250 Amazon gift card today is Jennifer Harrell from Texas. So congratulations to Jennifer Harrell. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Rubrik and Nutanix for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.